And Boxing Day still to come. Eastenders tomorrow at 7:14. There's no smoke without fire on BBC2 shortly. Arena hand rolls the story of cigars. And here on BBC1 next, Victor's at it again with one foot in the grave. New neighbours, new bright ideas now on BBC1, but when your name's Meldrew, you know that life is never that simple. Playing Cupid tomorrow on BBC1, The Vicar of Dibley at 9 o'clock. And the comedy continues in 10 minutes after the news with men behaving badly, and then at 11:05 they think it's all over.
A traditional Boxing Day on BBC1.
Over from out.
God, I hate Christmas.
It must have been something I ate.
Start to relax in Albert Square.
Shut up or I'll punch your lights out.
My wife behaving like a slut.
This is the first of many. The party starts now.
Then some stimulating party games.
We've resurrected an old game show. This show is all about losers.
Physical jerks in Dibley.
Just bung those in the kitchen for me, if you would.
Righto.
And reminiscing about old times.
The owls are stuffed.
How often do you have a bath?
Brace yourself for Boxing Day on BBC1.
There is a story all should hear.
A ghost, perhaps. You are the only ones who might believe.
A haunting thriller to chill the soul.
My sister is engaged. Willingly and happily to be married.
You and your sister are in very great danger.
Do not leave. Laura, oh Laura, it was a bad dream. There is a secret.
What is it?
You would destroy him.
Spellbinding drama for the Christmas season.
He can fight.
Tara Fitzgerald leads an all-star cast. The Woman in White begins Sunday at 8:50 and concludes Monday at 9:30 on BBC1.
Award-winning film drama from France on BBC2 shortly, La Reine Margot, starring Isabella Gianni. 16th century Paris was a tricky place for Protestants. On BBC1, the Christmas Day news with Anna Ford.
The Queen has thanked the nation for its tributes to Diana, Princess of Wales. In her Christmas message, she talked of the joy and the sadness of life. And after the worst storms of the winter, emergency teams are still trying to restore power to thousands of homes. Good evening. In her Christmas message, the Queen has spoken of the sadness and joy felt by her family this year, of the shock and sorrow caused by the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, and the almost unbearable sadness of her funeral. But the Queen also spoke of her happiness during her golden wedding celebrations. Her broadcast today was more relaxed and informal than in previous years. The young princes, William and Harry, facing the sadness today of their first Christmas without their mother, were supported by many well-wishers when they, the Queen and other members of the royal family, attended the Christmas Day service at Sandringham. Our court correspondent Jenny Bond reports.
The traumatic events of recent years have led to difficult Christmas days for the royal family before, but for Prince William and Prince Harry, this must surely have been the hardest. Although their mother had shunned Christmas at Sandringham in her last years, they would normally have had their own celebration with her before joining the rest of the family. And today they must have felt her loss more than ever. It was fitting that the Queen began her broadcast with images from Diana's funeral, an event she described as almost unbearably sad. But she reflected on how the year had also produced contrasting moments of joy, such as her own golden wedding.
This interweaving of joy and woe has been very much brought home to me and my family during the last months. We all felt the shock and sorrow of Diana's death. Thousands upon thousands of you expressed your grief most poignantly in the wonderful flowers and messages left in tribute to her.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was a great comfort to all those close to her.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Specially shot pictures show how 2 months later the princes had found the strength to laugh again when they returned to Westminster Abbey for their grandparents' wedding anniversary, a day the Queen says was a tremendously happy one. There's also a rare look behind the scenes at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Edinburgh.
It was very nice having everybody here last night.
Well, we enjoyed it very much.
Such meetings, says the Queen, show that unity and diversity can go hand in hand. And she follows that with a direct comment on devolution.
Recent developments at home, which have allowed Scotland and Wales greater say in the way they are governed, should be seen in that light and as proof that the kingdom can still enjoy all the benefits of remaining united. Being united, that is, feeling a unity of purpose, is the glue that bonds together the members of a family, a country, a commonwealth.
And today at Sandringham, the royal family were united in their determination to make the day as happy as possible, in spite of the short passage of time since the princess's death. The Queen's final thoughts in her broadcast were that the world needs kindness now more than ever. There was kindness in abundance among the crowds and appreciation that the monarchy is endeavouring to show a more human face after the tragedy of Diana's death. Jenny Bond, BBC News.
The Archbishop of Canterbury urged the Church to help bring about a society that took better care of single mothers, the poor, refugees, and the young unemployed. In Rome, the Pope, in his Christmas address, called on everyone to remember those who yearn for freedom and an end to violence.
On the day when the world's Christian leaders make their traditional appeals for peace and reconciliation, issues closer to home were in sharp focus at Canterbury Cathedral. In his Christmas sermon, the Archbishop of Canterbury called on the Church to remember its humble roots, and he commented on the plight of the disadvantaged when he said Christianity was not absent from the suffering.
Not absent from the poor, the broken-hearted, the refugee and the homeless. Not absent from the single mother, the person living on the breadline.
Meanwhile, a frail-looking Pope, who's had to reduce his workload for health reasons, delivered his customary message from the Vatican balcony in Rome.
Inglese, may the joy of Christmas and the peace with the birth of the Savior brings into the world be in your hearts forever.
The 77-year-old leader of the Catholic Church told a crowded St. Peter's Square not to forget the homeless, the unemployed, and people around the world still yearning for freedom. A message which will have been well received in communist Cuba, where the Pope is to make a historic visit next month. Today, Cubans were allowed officially to celebrate their first Christmas for nearly 30 years since it was abolished as a holiday. The relaxing of attitudes has led to something of a religious revival, but the more familiar exchange of gifts among family members remains the exception in a country where many young Cubans have no idea what Christmas is all about. John McIntyre, BBC News.
Engineers are still trying to restore power to thousands of homes after overnight storms battered many areas of the country. Power supplies were cut as winds of up to 90 miles an hour caused havoc in North Wales and Cheshire, as well as parts of Northern Ireland, the northwest of England and southwest Scotland.
Winds gusting up to hurricane force battered many parts of the country last night and throughout the day. Among the worst hit was this holiday village at Prestatyn on the North Wales coast. The chalet roofs were torn off, leaving engineers the task of picking their way through a pile of debris. The storms blocked hundreds of roads with fallen trees. The most severe damage was caused in northwest England and Wales.
It's been a very, very busy time for all the emergency services. There's been widespread damage caused, obviously, by the weather, structural damage to buildings, and this weather front is going to continue today. And we would certainly urge that people, if they were travelling anywhere today, that they would adjust their travelling times and travel at an earlier time and only travel if absolutely necessary.
The winds and heavy rain brought down power lines. An estimated 50,000 homes were without electricity at one stage. Additional repair teams are working through Christmas to try to restore power by the end of the day. One family in Carnarvonshire was forced to improvise to make sure the traditional Christmas Day lunch was served on time, the gas oven in the caravan providing the vital alternative. For the children, though, it just wasn't the same without the use of those electronic toys.
They can't play the music they've had and the computer games and things. I think it's simpler, it's quite nice. There's not much noise around. Yes, we're coping okay.
So there are some benefits in this?
Yes, I think so, yes. For us anyway, maybe not for the children.
Parts of Northern Ireland are facing a second night without electricity after some of the worst storms for many years. At this caravan site on the coast of County Down, 9 vans were destroyed in the high winds. The weather forecasters say there'll be more gales and heavy rain over the next 24 hours. Paul Newman, BBC News.
At least 32 people were killed in Pakistan when 2 trains crashed at a station near Jang in central Punjab. A number of people were injured, 4 of them seriously. It's not known what caused the accident, but there was thick fog in the area at the time. The Aston Villa and England footballer Stan Collymore has been charged with assault. Collymore, who's 26, is alleged to have struck a woman on Tuesday in Cannock, Staffordshire. He's been released on police bail and will appear before magistrates at a later date. More than 200 passengers and crew had a lucky escape when their plane overshot the runway after landing in high winds at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. The Boeing 757 was returning from Las Palmas in the Canary Islands. 4 people were slightly injured during the evacuation. Well, that's all from us. Enjoy the rest of your evening and happy Christmas.
Good evening and a happy Christmas to you. Not a repeat performance of last night's very stormy weather, but it is still going to be windy for many parts of Britain, and we still have an advisory out for strong winds. I think worst affected areas, Northern Ireland, Northern England and North Wales. Eventually, though, we'll lose those southwesterly gales, and as you can see for Boxing Day, more of a westerly wind and those winds starting to ease somewhat. So an improving picture for many parts of Britain for tomorrow. Now, as well as that windy weather, we do have some rain around. We've got some thundery showers down to the southwest. We've also got an area of rain affecting many central parts of Britain, really quite nasty over the Pennine routes at the moment. Gradually, though, through the night, we'll get that rain edging further and further southwards, allowing things to clear up and turn chillier across Northern Ireland and Scotland. And in fact, by the end of the night, it could turn cold enough for 1 or 2 icy patches. Then for Boxing Day, well, we've got those lighter westerly winds, still rather blustery, with that rain still affecting eastern counties. So for Boxing Day morning, then dawning rather grey and cloudy with some rain in eastern areas. That will scoot off eastwards, though, and I think a brighter prospect for the afternoon there with some sunshine. In the west, though, showery from the word go, and there will be some pretty heavy showers coming along. It's quite squally at times with the odd rumble of thunder. Now, temperatures for Boxing Day afternoon up to around 8 or 9, a little bit of a fresher feel, and a similar feel, I think, on Saturday too, with an early frost in the north. There will be more sunshine around, though, a better day generally, and sunny too on Sunday.
In deepest, darkest Dibley, something stirs.
I've fallen in love with the most beautiful and wonderful woman in the world.
Jill Dando. And it's catching.
Here, Mr. Moist.
A tale of passion.
Just kiss, you moron!
Desire.
Chocolate hobnob.
Let's do it! And seismic hormonal activity. The Vicar of Dibley. Country life at its finest. Boxing Day at 9 on BBC1.
This Christmas, they think it's all over has a Dickensian flavour. So join the Artful Dodger, Little Lord Fauntleroy, Oliver Crisp, and Mr. Fumble. Oh, and of course, Sooty. What's that, Sooty? You want to make a special Christmas wish?
Yep, it's got his magic wand, look.
Go on, then.
They think it's all over. Tonight at 11:05 on BBC1. Really?
Festive fantasy now on BBC1. Christmas, a time for merriment and goodwill to all men.
Wonderland, wayward Wonderland.
In their change strip now on BBC One, own goals and penalties for Christmas. But who's counting?
So the winner of the Christmas special is David Gower's team.
Thank you, my lord.
So, our thanks to Gary, Rory and Graham, David, Lee and Sooty. We're all off to stick the carrot in a humorous position on the snowman. My name's Nick Hancock. I think it's all over. It is now.
Tomorrow night on BBC One, Oasis in concert. Catch them at 12:35. And next tonight, high-altitude comedy. Airplane takes off in 5 minutes.